Stephen Hawkins was chosen. Stephen Hawkins was chosen. For y'all who don't know who Stephen Hawkins is, Stephen Hawkins was a theoretical scientist and a cosmologist and an author. He was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which your brain loses control of your muscle functions. He was almost pretty much in a vegetative state. You lose the ability to speak, even though he didn't lose the ability to speak from that. He lost his ability to speak from pneumonia. You lose the control of your body. You drool. He's in a wheelchair. He can't do anything body physically wise. But the man was brilliant. This man went on to, he married a couple times, had 3 kids, was an author. Like I said, he appeared in over 65 movies and TV shows. He was diagnosed with this disease at the age of 21. And at 21, once he was diagnosed, they give half the people have at least 3 years to live, and 10% of the people go on to live 10 years or more. And from the time he was diagnosed, this man went on to live to be 76 years old. And I bring up Stephen Hawkins to say Stephen Hawkins was chosen because I just want to let everybody know there are a lot of videos out here about being chosen, and I'm all for it. I'm with it. But at the same time, sometimes people may think that you have to be a special type of person to be chosen. You have to be this or you have to be that to be chosen. When really, once you were placed on this earth, you were chosen. Now, whether you accept the call of the chosen one is up to you. But we are all chosen. A lot of us don't, a very small percentage of us accept the life of a chosen one because it's a boring life. It's a disciplined life. It's a life of fighting temptation, restraining yourself, doing the right things, being in the right mind state. And it's hard, but at the same time, you look at this man, if you go and look at this man's physical body, and you see the things he was able to accomplish, a family, a full life, traveling the world. He had the chance to experience weightlessness. He never went to space, but they gave him the opportunity to experience weightlessness because since his occupation dealt with the universe, and how the universe began, and the stars in space, they gave him that opportunity. And we just need to understand, man, that we are all chosen. We just got to decide whether we accept that call. It's not a fun call, but we are all chosen. So, a lot of us sit up here, a lot of us, we have all our faculties, we have all our limbs, we have the function of all our limbs, way more abilities than he had, physical abilities than he had. But, we keep ourselves in a cage in our minds, and keeping ourselves in the cage in our minds is causing us not to grow. So, I use him as an example because, it inspired me when for whatever reason, I thought about him. I thought about him a while ago, but I just decided to, talk about it now. But yeah, this man, had every reason in the world to be absolutely nothing. And I think everybody would have been just fine with him because they would have been like, hey, he has amyotrophic sclerosis, or it's also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. So, he continued, he didn't get down on himself. And can you imagine how hard that is to be in a wheelchair, pretty much almost in a vegetative state, and you see life going on around you, you see people having fun, beautiful women and all kind of stuff you would probably indulge in that if he wasn't in that wheelchair. And for whatever reason, he didn't let that get him down. He didn't let that break him. I'm pretty sure he had miserable time. I'm pretty sure living a life like that, he probably thought about it every day, but he found it within himself to keep going every day, to keep to keep his curiosity, to keep his energy, and to keep his, to keep all the vitality he can to muster up to do the things he wanted to do and accomplish the things he wanted to accomplish. And we just need to learn that we have these same abilities, and we actually have more, because we have more functioning of our bodies. We just, we limit ourselves in our mind, and we got to stop limiting ourselves in our minds and expanding our minds and start believing more, start having faith, start getting more into God, and understanding that we are powerful creations, we are powerful creatures. God made us in his likeness, so that means that we have pretty much the same abilities as God. We just have to harness them. We are not perfect like God, but we have abilities, whether we use them for good or bad. But this man here, he persevered. He persevered where 99.9999% of people would have given up, like wouldn't have even started. And here we are sitting here fully functioning, healthy, right minds. We got everything we need, and we're not doing it. So just think about this man. Look this man up. Look at this man's story. See what this man was able to achieve and to accomplish, and then take a self-reflection, just like I did. Because there's no reason for us. There's no reason for any of us not to be something. We all, sometimes there is, and unfortunate, circumstances can get unfortunate, but this man here was pretty much close to, being, like I say, pretty much a vegetable. But only thing that was really functioning at this time, before his death, was his brain, and he used it for everything he had, for all he had. So, man, think about that. Be encouraged by that, man. Go forward, man. We need to stop laying around, stop feeling sorry for ourselves, stop playing victim, stop, letting our circumstances dictate where our life is going. You dictate where your life is going, regardless of what your circumstances are now. Don't think it's going to happen overnight, because all the old got to wash out. So all the old got to wash out before the good come in. So think about that, go forward and win, man. Let's win.